I love the example you gave of you were giving individual sessions and you wanted to work on a larger scale. And so that's a great example. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. This was many years ago now. And, my intention with spirit, when I was first understanding what was going on, was I wasn't going to solicit anybody with this. I didn't want to walk up someone on the street and just give them a reading. So I had this intention with spirit that if you wanted me to help your loved ones, you would find a way for them to find me. And that's how it always began. So in the beginning of this, I kept hearing from other mediums too that it was going to be on a larger scale than it was, and that they saw me in front of large crowds, basically. So I went with that intention. I was in prayer and intention setting, and I said, "Okay, Spirit, let's take this to the next level and see where this goes." And my intention was to be of service, to pay it forward, and it really began many years ago. Through charitable causes, actually. So I remember doing a charity event for a cancer organization. And from that point forward, it just kind of happened very quickly where I was all over the place after that, and people wanted me to go to their locations around the country, whether they be comedy clubs or whether they be spiritual churches. I was literally traveling all over the country doing this. So it was really eye-opening for me, and also just really affirming that when you do set the intention, how it shows up for you, if you trust and if you surrender to basically surrendering to what you think it should look like, and just knowing that the vibration of it, the energy of it, is what will find you.
So staying out of what it should look like and trust that it'll happen.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the vibration, that's a good segue into how you talk about gratitude, which I talk about probably every episode for 100, however many episodes. I'm big on gratitude practice. So yeah, I love hearing how you talk about gratitude.
Thank you. Gratitude for me has always been a really big part of my daily practice. And actually, within this book, it's one of my favorite exercises, actually, is doing this. And I will do it as often as I can throughout my day. It's sort of like a game for me, actually. How often can I apply this practice to my own life? What I find that it does is it instantly connects you with your higher self. It connects you with the cosmos, with spirit, with the universe. And the more that you do it, you literally are adding to your account, to your cosmic bank account of energy. And it does feel that way. The more that you do it, you just feel more positive, more radiant. It gets you out of that rational part of your thinking, that stinking thinking, and that really is the threshold, I believe, for manifestation, is having the platform of positive energy, positive flow. And when you are reciting things that you're grateful for in your life, and it can be as simple for your breath, for being able to breathe, for being able to see. It's those little things that we usually don't, or usually take for granted, rather, that are the biggest gifts that we can experience when we're here. So when we're able to really give our focus to those things around us, we're just attracting more and more of that energy vibration to our lives.
Yeah, now that's amazing. So you talk about flipping the energy of negative thoughts. How? Okay, how can somebody take those negative thoughts and flip that energy, especially when you're in it?
Absolutely. I feel like having an awareness of it first is the first step of it, So if you're not aware of it and you're letting it kind of dictate, then we kind of fall into this mentality where we're down the rabbit hole and we cannot escape it. And we all go through it because we're here, we're in a physical shell. It's part of our human DNA, right? But when we take the time to first be aware of it, acknowledge it, speak it out first, then you have the power to transform those thoughts, to transform your belief system. Because we're also impressionable, and we all have been programmed from a very early age to believe certain things. We've come here karmically to undo those belief systems. We've come here to be our own voice, our own mind, to have our own opinions about life. And so typically this happens, going into our adult years when we have to undo things that were programmed much earlier for us. But I really do feel like writing things down is a powerful tool. It helps kind of unclog the drain, so to speak. So to anyone who's listening right now, who's like, I don't know, I'm not sure, or maybe there's a fear element to it, acknowledging it is the first step of changing it. And putting it on paper, and especially the exercise in the book too, of how we flip it around. For me, when I was guided to do this exercise, and I was able to see, the ego self and the spirit self back and forth, it really was eye-opening to me as well. Like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. It was a reminder of how the two parts of ourself work in tandem together. So really just having an awareness of it is the first step of changing it.
Yeah. How did you grew up with these drug addicted parents on both coasts? How did you end up like this? Like listening to you, and a trajectory of being an opera singer and so on.
I feel like for me, it was really about trusting what was right for me and not really listening to the outside world. Otherwise things would have been different for me. Thankfully, I had my grandmother, who is still here, had a really big impact on me. She basically took me in from the time I was 10 till, I was basically an adult. So her kindness, her generosity, and just who she is as a pure being, I think really rubbed off onto me. And those philosophies, I just basically made my own, because it doesn't matter what religion you are or what belief system you have. If you are operating from the perspective of being of service, having an open heart, and giving, being generous, that's why we're here. We're all here to be of service on some level, So really, it came down to just keeping that in the forefront of my mind. As a healer, healers always want to be of service. They always want to fix things for people and make things right, and it was part of my DNA, and it showed up early for me. And I really do feel like going through what I did as a child, it helped me have compassion for things in my life, helped me have compassion for my parents as well, because we're all flawed, no one's perfect here. So they chose to have this arrangement in this life, and it served me. So I always tell people they were basically my greatest teachers on this journey.
Yeah, for sure.